job market for tech, bro, is kind of cooked. As of 2024, 2025 ish. So this is what I've been hearing. This is what I've been seeing on social media. I'm talking to people that I graduated with. You know, they're still trying to find, employment, things like that. So prayers up, man. It's tough out there, but we gonna
current state of the US tech job market, and I only realized it after I started interviewing. The fact that I'm admitting that I started interviewing already means that you guys know I've resigned at my current place of employment and I've accepted an offer elsewhere. But I really just want to reflect on the entire process because I have a lot of thoughts and I want to, use my platform to communicate those thoughts with you guys. So let's actually start off with some context. I've written these notes down here. It's almost midnight on a Friday. I'm wearing a tank top, but let's get into it. Guys, around 4 months ago, I started interviewing. I started interviewing because I wanted to look for new opportunities. And as I was interviewing, or actually before I was interviewing, I came into it with the thought process of, the market's great, I don't know what people online are talking about. As you guys know, I'm a very online person. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about software engineering religiously. I'm on Reddit, looking through forums, hearing people complain. And I thought to myself, they're just lazy. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm being vulnerable with you guys. I'm telling you how I really thought it was. What's the word? Boomer pilled, I guess. So I thought you just have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, hunker down, and everything will be okay. There's a lot of different dip problems out there, and that's really what I want to talk about. So now that you guys understand the context, let's get into my own personal observations. The first thing that I think is broken with the current state of the US tech job market is that companies are not filtering candidates properly. CS career students are going to disagree with me on this because, in my opinion, LeetCode doesn't measure whether or not you will excel at the position you're applying for. It measures how well you can test in correlation to how much free time you have. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Let's say you currently have a job, you're in your mid-20s.
Man, I've never done a LeetCode problem at my job right now. Like, never. The stuff that I'm doing, doesn't even touch none of that stuff. So it's just crazy to me that companies are still doing the LeetCode thing. I get it. You want to know that your candidate can code and things like that. But, bro, I don't know. I feel like the ultimate job, interview process is the take-home project, interview style. That take-home, I've never had it, but just to think that you can get a job or the interview consists of you taking home a project, you give, a project or a task, and you can just, solve it however you will solve it, You don't have to whiteboard it. You don't have to do it under a time limit. Of course, it's you have to send it in probably the next day or next 2 days or whatever. But, they treat it like you actually have a task at the job. They want to see how you act in the job. And I just feel like that's the best. That's the best approach, bro. That's the best approach.
20s, 30s, even 40s, you're looking to interview also.
It's the best approach because it's the closest thing to the job. You know what I'm saying? Without doing or without being hired.
Elsewhere. You might be dissatisfied at work, or maybe you just think there might be better opportunities for you, out there. Essentially, you need to study while maintaining your current place of employment. So you're working 8 to 9 hours a day. By the time you get home, you might have other obligations. You have a partner, maybe you have kids, maybe you have hobbies. Maybe you're just playing video games because you're tired. By the time you're done all that, it's 9 p.m.
Facts.
Are you really in the mood?
Time goes so fast, bro. I'm telling you.
Mood to grind through inverting a binary search tree? Are you really in the mood to figure out how to find an element in a rotated sorted array? Probably not. And that's why I say that CS career students are probably going to be more adamant against this point than I am, because they're not in industry. They have 3 to maybe 5 hours a day of classes at most, and then it's essentially a couple of projects and free time. And LeetCode tests how much free time you have. All right. Don't be in some sort of a line are looking tech rounds. Candidate smart he is, eventually he's going to get tired, and eventually he's going to die. And that's what's happening to candidates in interviews. They're metaphorically dying because they're being given so many tech rounds, and they need to remain so sharp and brush up on things so quickly that it's virtually impossible to do so and excel in the way that companies are looking for you to excel.
Facts, bro. I remember senior year, I was cramming in leak code questions like they were candy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to understand them. And, so if it comes up on an interview, I'll know what to do. But, essentially what that was doing is I was kind of having the reverse effect of making me more nervous. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was working me up. 'Cause I'm like, dang, I don't know this. I don't know this. What if they ask this? And boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with him, bro. Like, the thing is it's fundamentally broken, but nobody wants to fix it. No company is gonna be like, oh yeah, we're not gonna do leak code no more. We're gonna actually, do this and that and the third to really assess if this guy, can excel at this company or not. So, and it's kind of crazy. You would think like being a part of an industry that changes this every day, you think the interview process would change as often as the industry changes, kind of. But that's not the case at all. It still hasn't changed in years, possibly decades. So
That brings me to the actual rounds themselves. I've interviewed at a bunch of different companies. The companies that I really like are quick. They iterate very quickly. So you'll have 5 rounds. They might be over the course of 2 to 3 weeks at most for those 5 rounds. Other companies that, in my opinion, don't do things well, and this is the majority of companies in the US tech job market, which is why it's such a mess, they will have 8 rounds over the course of 6 weeks. Asking somebody to remain
8 rounds of interviews, bro. Can you imagine you on the 7th round and you get booted out? All that work for what? Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Imagine you on the 7th week or the 6th week, bro. You done did good on round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5. And then all of a sudden they say, sorry, bro, you can't. You chose somebody else. Mm-mm-mm-mm. That should be illegal, bro. In my opinion, that should be illegal. Because, like, dang, you worked so hard for what? For what?
sharp for 6 weeks is a very difficult task. That's asking them to brush up on whatever they need to prepare for, behavioral, technical, etc., for at least an hour a day for those entire 6 weeks. And that's a big time commitment that not a lot of people can make. And some of the best candidates out there just don't have the ability to do so, that time commitment to give to these companies. They're asking for too much, and they're stretching their rounds over a period of time. That part. So if you're doing great, you have good feedback, you're pushed through. Back end of the round is essentially the feedback part. So that's the front end on the rounds. Now that you're asked about in an interview. And you're not going to have a good time if that's how much you've studied for a topic that you're asked about in an interview. Okay. That's the front end on the rounds. Now the back end. The back end of the round is essentially the feedback part. So if you're doing great, you have good feedback, you're pushed through. But where companies in the US market really struggle is they just don't give great feedback. The worst thing they will do to you is ghost you. Now, the fact that
Facts. I've been ghosted before, bro. Let's see. I've definitely gotten feedback like maybe once or twice in my interview days and things like that. But yeah, most companies will definitely just ghost you. They won't even send you the email like, hey, we're going on with different candidates. Sorry, we'll keep your resume on file type thing. No, they don't do that either, bro. They rely will just ghost you, never to be heard from again. So, yeah, bro, I don't know how to feel about it, y'all. Like, I really don't. It's like you work so hard in college to get to this point, and you hear like this, it's not really encouraging. I'm blessed. I'm blessed enough to have a job right now. You know what I'm saying? Super blessed. But some of my colleagues don't have one. They still don't have one that I've graduated at college with. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. And yeah, bro, I just hope 2025 brings it around, you know, makes things back to normal, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because essentially, bro, we worked hard for this, y'all. We should get compensated for it, bro. So, and essentially, I don't think it's gonna take another pandemic or some type of 0 day event to happen again for companies to start, you know, ramping up their hiring again. Because a lot of them, they're offshoring the jobs anyway to foreign countries. So, man, with that being said, y'all, I appreciate you watching the video. You know, if you want to have this conversation further on, you know, put a comment down. You know, I'll answer to all my comments. So I reply to all my comments.